in order to have a business that is going to be sustainable with, a high level of longevity, we got to stop this team turnover. Every time you have someone quit, it stalls the business. And it's a hardship on you as the CEO and on the business itself.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fun one. Our returning guest is a team and leadership coach with BizChix.com, and she's the host of the Stacking Your Team podcast. Shelli Warren, welcome back to the show.
I'm so happy to be back.
It's great to have you. And last time we chatted, we uncovered so many great nuggets for our audience, for our listener, and I'm looking forward to doing the same today.
We will.
Yes. Now, last time you were on the podcast, we discussed building a dream bookkeeping staff. Mm-hmm. This time around, we're going to be talking about leadership. But before we get into that, maybe because I'm sure there's going to be a few listeners that maybe haven't listened to that first episode. They're going to go back and do it again, and I'll go and look up the number. So we'll let everyone know where they can go listen to that first episode because it was excellent. But give us a little bit of background about you and how you got to be doing what you're doing today. And then we'll get into leadership.
Well, thank you. So I worked at Procter & Gamble for over 25 years, leading technical teams. So I was working, sometimes I had like up to 60 people that I was responsible to with these multi-million-dollar projects that were leading billion-dollar brands. So when you have large teams with a high level of expertise and you're under the gun for turnaround and vertical startups and, not impacting the supply chain, you really have to learn quickly how to engage with your team, keep everyone motivated, including when there's failures, and then also just realizing that through the diversity of the teams that I was serving, I myself had to really pour into my own development as a leader, including falling down, scraping my knees, and then taking a moment to reflect on why that didn't work so well, and then coming at it with a whole different angle. So I really enjoy people, and I really enjoy helping others succeed. And one of the things that I had so much fun with all those years was helping other people get recognized and promoted. So that was just one of the other things that I was known for, was really being that in-house mentor for other people that wanted to have incredible careers with the company.
That's remarkable. I love that. I mean, I remember last time when we spoke, hearing that 60, leading 60 people, it's such a daunting concept in my mind, like all those people coming to you for information, knowledge, leadership, all of that. I mean, did you have like extra hours in the day? It's crazy.
Well, I do have workaholic tendencies. It is part of my personality. I'm just an overachiever that way. But I'll have to say, having 60 people that you're responsible to, that wasn't the norm. Often I would have 30. But there were times that the company asked me to play a dual role, like a dual leadership role, where I would have an operations team that I was responsible for, but then I'd also have a project team within that same profit center to lead as well. So, it's just one of those things that you don't even really know you're evolving until you have another year of service anniversary. And then you think back and go, wow, things have really changed since I joined the company. But what I really love doing now is taking those complex corporate workflows and work processes and strategies and really stripping them down into something that is much more tangible for a small business owner who, doesn't have an HR department, and they don't have a training department, and they don't have a massive marketing budget to be able to go out and really attract people to come and join them. So that's the fun for me, is really taking everything that I'd learned in the corporate world and really slicing and dicing it down into something that is compelling and incredibly effective for that small service-based business owner.
Mm. Well, you're definitely the person that can do that. Anybody who can lead 30 to 60 people, for a small business, listening to that and timesing what they have, they're different animals for sure, right? Because in a corporation versus a small business, but even just the thought of it, if a person has one or two people in their business, that in itself can feel like 30 to 60 people coming at you, right?
It can. It certainly can. Which
brings us back to, a key piece, which is leadership. And it's almost like one of those lever conversations, probably, if you have, a few staff and having lots of challenges, or it's very difficult. If you add a little tiny bit of leadership, it can move the scale likely a lot. And what are those key lever points when we're talking about leadership, the key skills of a good leader that's leading a team?
Well, when I'm working with my clients and we're looking to really build out an org structure that's going to take them into the future, the first thing we look at is their current team structure. And then we look to see who are the people that are on your team right now who like people. Because the minute you move into a leadership role, it's no longer about you. And so the transition happens because you go from being an individual contributor into having this group impact. And so what you really need to do is start shifting how you roll every day to ensure that the onus is on the success of the team. So it's not about you anymore. It's about ensuring that your team is successful, which therefore will ensure that the business is successful. And yes, you're going to have career goals, personal goals. And yes, you're going to want to, make sure that you're reaching all of the results that you want to personally as a professional. But the onus of what you're doing every day is to make sure that you're supporting the people that you're responsible to and making key decisions to help their work become easier, and to ensure that you always are stacked up around with people that are here for the long run. So people that really have some good long-term fit.
It's that time of year again, and after a great showing in 2021, the Successful Bookkeeper Summit returns even bigger and better. It's a 2-day virtual conference that features incredible speakers from the bookkeeping, accounting, and business worlds, such as value pricing expert Ron Baker and Joe Woodard of the Woodard Group. And that's just to name a few. The theme of this year's event is Make It Grow. And there's no doubt the content you'll consume will help you achieve more success than you ever thought possible. It all begins on November 9th, 2022. To secure your free spot, visit thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/summit. And again, that's thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/summit. Register today, and I'll see you at the summit. And now, let's get back to our interview. Yeah, it's interesting when you said that. I thought about leaders that I've had throughout my life, and there's definitely people that stand out. And when I think about them, they really did love people. They loved helping people. It was more about in the relationship with between myself and them. It was always more about me than it was about them. And the complete opposite on ones that weren't great to work with. It would be the opposite. They were more interested in what was in it for them, or where they were going, versus where I was going. So that's a key piece. And you're saying to look for people on your team that are going to be in a leadership position. Obviously it makes a lot of sense, but I don't think many times people lead with that kind of thinking. It's like, does this person actually like, or do I like people before getting into a leadership position?
It's so true, because it's the whole essence of, if your team is successful, like if the people that you're responsible to are successful, it reflects on you, and therefore you will be successful, and people will see you in that light of someone being a leader, someone who can make tough decisions, someone who can coach other individuals through difficult times and through triumphs, and be that right-hand person to the CEO, so that the CEO has this sense of, wow, I have someone on my team I can actually collaborate with. Because that's one of the most common comments I hear when people come to work with me in the leadership lab, is that they feel so alone. They feel that there's no one on their team that they can confide in, or, talk turkey and, really plan and forecast out for the future, because there's not that level of trust, or they feel that there's not a level of interest, right? So what you're looking for with someone in a leadership role is that they really are curious about the business. They want to play a role in setting the direction of where the business is going, and that they have a keen desire to take on more responsibility. That's one of the failures sometimes that we work through with clients, is they will promote someone into a leadership role because they were a fabulous individual contributor. So they promote them into a leadership role, and, it's quickly obvious that it's not going to work out because they don't have the personality or the desire to learn the skills that it takes to have a high level of group impact. They're very comfortable as an individual contributor within that one role. But the minute we start to stretch them, or, massage their work plan so that they're more being held accountable for different results and different outcomes, it impacts them in such a way that it's just a fail, right? And we don't want people in roles that are failing. So then we end up having to move them out of that position and into a different position that's more where they can be more of an individual contributor.
Mm. So in a small firm, bookkeeping firm, the owner is, it's pretty flat. It's the owner is like, they started this business and they want to have it scale or grow, requires people to do that. It's not like they're like hiring for the role at first, right? As you grow and maybe have, 5, 6, 7 and on, you're going to need leaders in that team. But at the beginning, the owner, that they're the leader, and maybe they're not good at it. And they don't even know that they're maybe not good at it. What would you like for those? And if we think of our listener right now, it's probably somebody who's either thinking about, geez, I need to hire people. Do I want to be a leader? Do I want to be the owner? Or, hey, they've got a team. I mean, there's probably 3 places. It's like, I've got a team and I don't think I'm that great at this. This doesn't seem to go on the way I want it to go. And then the third one, I'm rocking it. I don't need your help, Michael.
Yes.
We got this covered.
Yeah.
What do you think for that person that's kind of going like, what do I need to be thinking about in terms of me, an inventory of what I need to do or think about to being good, to have the business go in the direction that it should be going in?
Well, I think it takes an adult mindset to really stop and become self-aware of how impactful you are with your team. And it doesn't even really matter how big your team is. I think all owners of a business need to put on their calendar at least every couple of months, some sort of a trigger that makes them do a little bit of reflection. And where I'd love to see them reflect on is, what kind of conflict do I have on my team right today? And, often I hear people say, oh, no, I don't have any conflict on my team. We're a family. We get along like the house is on fire. We care for each other. And, and all of that might be true. But I would challenge you, if you think that there is no conflict on your team, I would challenge you to look deeper. Because inevitably, when you get people together, even though they're all working towards the same mission and the same vision, there are going to be moments where they're disappointed in someone, or someone's being a bottleneck to them, or someone spoke to them a little rough around the edges one day and their feelings got hurt. So as a leader, you really need to stop and think about, what am I doing that's helping to foster making it normal on my team to talk about conflict and to talk about where you're uncomfortable and to say out loud, I was really disappointed yesterday when that happened in the team meeting. We've got to get there, because in order to have a business that is going to be sustainable with, a high level of longevity, we got to stop this team turnover. Every time you have someone quit, it stalls the business, and it's a hardship on you as the CEO and on the business itself. So we need to smooth out the team culture in such a way that people are comfortable, yet also stretched, and that they're becoming self-sufficient and incredibly agile, so that as the business grows, as the marketplace kind of forces you to grow and shift, that you've got a team around you that are up for the challenge instead of having to always start over again.
It's so daunting to even think about that. I mean, I'm sure many people, if they have a conflict, it might seem short term, but having the conflict go away is like, hey, it's like, let's celebrate. The conflict's no longer here. It's like the devil you know is sometimes better than the devil you don't, which is now we got nobody and we've got to solve and do all this work, find someone new, train them, bring them up to speed. And, it might be, wait a second, maybe the people aren't the problem. Maybe I'm the problem.
Well, yeah, it's the old saying is that people quit leaders, not the company, right? People become very, very loyal to a business and a brand or a company, like incredibly loyal to the mission. But if they're coming to work every day and feeling unseen, unheard, unimportant, or just feeling that they don't fit in and they're not aligned with their leader and the direction of where the business is going, they will stay for a while until they find another role, and then they will leave. And so what we need to do as leaders is to just make a decision that says, I am going to invest in myself in terms of personal and professional development. I am going to be a continual learner. I'm going to accept the fact that as I'm owning this business and growing it, I need to continue to ebb and flow and be agile and learn from others, and then put a plan together as to how they're going to continue to learn.
So inspirational, really, when you think about it. It's an asset that you are building, and those people are so valuable. And often I think the day-to-day, and I've met many, many business owners, some of them are amazing people, and some look at staff like they're just numbers, right? It's like, and the attrition in those businesses, just from a 20,000 foot view, is like, the attrition is a problem when they think of people like numbers, because that shows up, right? It gets there eventually. And so this idea of going, wait a second, what can we do to ensure that these people stay? And I think it actually was your business partner that we had this conversation way back a few episodes ago. I believe it was Natalie. We were talking about the investment, like make a bigger investment than you think you can in your people initially, because you're going to end up further faster by hiring the right people, hiring great people that you're going to love working with, that are going to be able to do the job that you want to do. And it's like, okay, well, you could go invest low, but then you're likely not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy. And then you're just like throwing that money away. Because if you think about the cost of losing someone too, like just the cost of it is huge.
It is huge. And so I'm such a fan of helping people stack up a team around them that has potential to promote from within, So what I mean by that is as the business grows, you are going to want to put people in a leadership position on the team. And the reason why you're going to want to do that is because it's going to ease your decision fatigue. It's going to increase your capacity. It's going to give you more time so that you can go and really lean into business development. And so therefore, the bottom line is you're going to boost your bottom line. So when we put people into leadership roles, it definitely impacts revenue in a positive way. And so as a leader, you really need to be thinking about who's joining my team that I can foresee potential to shift them into a role where they will be responsible to people, responsible to a process, or responsible for an entire profit center. Because that's really how you're going to build up that leadership team where you will feel so much different about the trajectory of where your business is going because you have these people who are so dedicated to your mission and your vision. They adore your clientele and they feel incredibly proud, and they become, it's part of their identity that they are part of your team and part of your company. And that's really how we create some sustainability to be able to move forward with whatever the marketplace is throwing at you. And like Natalie mentioned, the more that you can afford to pay someone and to have that money earmarked for these leadership positions, the better off you're going to be. Because typically when someone joins your team, it takes up to 4 months before they really start to have the impact that you were hoping and dreaming for. Now, some people can do it in a short amount of time, but generally it'll be about the 4-month mark where you start to see, wow, this person is on fire. Oh my gosh, I can't believe what's happening in my business right now because I have this person in this leadership role. So we want to make sure that you can cover this person's salary so it doesn't feel like you're breaking your business because you promoted someone into this role, but at the same time, be able to pace yourself and be confident in knowing that the ROI is absolutely headed your way.
So true. So true. And, I think just sitting here thinking about it, many probably don't because they haven't thought big enough.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
It's like building the company an inch off the nose. Mm-hmm. We're not looking way down on the horizon it's going to look way different. And again, like coming back to what you said about reflecting, it's like reflecting on yourself. Yeah. It's like, hey, reflect, take the time to think about what am I building and what could that look like? And what are the pros and cons of it as well? And then making sure that we're hiring for that future business, not the one that looks like today. Because that just paints us into a corner. I mean, I've done that myself where it's like, wait a second, we need to be way bigger than that.
Yeah.
And we need different people for that. And that's costly because it's like measure twice, cut once leads to just the efficiency. And I mean, it's so easy to forget about, like we've talked about already, so easy to forget about the cost of these things when we don't do it. Right.
It's so true. It can be so expensive.
It can be very costly.
Very costly. And, I like to encourage people to hire for the future, like you said, in the sense that you're offering them market value for the impact they're going to have in the business. Because let's face it, high contributing people, high performing people absolutely know their value in the marketplace. They do. And so if you're looking to bring someone high level onto your team because you are hiring for the future, this person is going to come in, get onboarded, line out, and then you're going to have them hit the ground with owning a bigger ownership area for the business and giving them a broader decision space. And they're going to be responsible to people, processes, or profit center. You're going to want to pay them accordingly because what you're getting with that individual is so much fresh energy and mastery. That's why you've selected them as your next best hire, is because they're bringing you the goods that you don't have, or they're bringing you the goods that are complementary to the goods and the skill set that you have. And you know that collectively, you're going to move so much farther, faster, because you're going to collaborate with this high contributing individual. And that's going to have this ripple effect right across your whole team.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to really think about bringing on people that can be the leaders of tomorrow's business. And I mean, that's often when I'm speaking to bookkeepers in this industry, they're often just talking about satisfying the needs of business today.
Yeah.
Versus that thinking. It's a little bit more thinking, and it's conceptual, right? So it's not natural for someone to go from the I'm at the wheel doing the work to, let's dream about this business. What is this going to look like? Who are these people? Who would be great people to run this business? But it's essential to do that, to take that time.
You want to be out in front of what's happening with your vision and get out in front by creating these opportunities for people to come and start with you. You know, sometimes people come in at a ground level, or what we would call like an entry level position. And then the more you start to see their capabilities and their capacity and have more career discussions with them, you start to see that they really are interested in growing as a professional with you. And so part of your retention strategy would be to pour into that, like really listen to it and map out a path for them, like explicitly showing them where they could move to next and what would be the criteria to be considered to be promoted from within into this role and then into that role. Because that's really what people want. People want a career where they see that they will be interested to come to work because they know they're going to be providing worthwhile work week on, month on, year on. And that's how you really ensure that you're building this incredible continuity in your business where people know the history of the growth of the business. They have deep connections with your clients and your partnerships and your vendors and with the extended team. And that's where you as the business owner feel so much more powerful and capable because you've got this strong foundation of people on your team that love your business as much as you do and love what they get to do every day. And they really see a future working alongside you.
I love that. When we're talking about people, like let's just imagine the business today that someone would have, one of our listeners. Why don't people have more of these leadership skills? Like it seems almost rare to find these people. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's because they didn't go to school to learn them, right? They went to school to get a degree or a trade to begin a profession. And then they went out and got some work experience and they started to collect some work experience over the years. And now they're running a business. And so now they're focused on what it takes to run a business or, market themselves out there, continue to gain clients. And most often they started just themselves, right? They were a solopreneur. And then their head literally bumped up into the ceiling of capacity. And so they started to hire usually some sort of admin help. And then they'll start to look to hire someone who has complementary skills that can take on clients. And then little by little, they're starting to grow this team. And then they wake up one day and they look around and they think to themselves, oh my gosh, I'm responsible to 5 people. And I feel like I'm winging it. And I keep falling down, scraping my knees and repairing relationships. But they're in there focusing on growing the business, wanting to uphold the obligation of providing worthwhile work and livelihood to these individuals that they've asked to come and join them. And so it can become very daunting for them to think, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to lead. I don't think my team likes me. I keep messing up. And so they need to stop beating themselves up because they didn't go to school to learn these skills. And depending on what life experiences they had, they might not have picked up much along the way. So if you were in sports, if you played a team sport, you definitely learned some leadership skills. If you volunteered growing up, you definitely learned some leadership skills. Or if you had some sort of a role within your place of worship, you definitely learned some leadership skills. And in all of those scenarios, you also had opportunities to observe leaders. And so therefore you learned what you like, what you don't like, what you respect, what you didn't respect. And then we often say to ourselves, I'm never going to be like that when I have a leadership role, or I'm never going to be that kind of boss. But all of those learnings are really help forming who you are and who you're becoming as a leader.
Mm. And when they need to upgrade them, what's the, in your opinion, what's the fastest way to go and find out where do I need to get an upgrade, and how do I upgrade these skills? I mean, we've talked about where they may have had these natural ones, but if we need to upgrade them, what's the best way to do it?
Well, I think the first thing is to ask your team, like, what are my opportunity areas? What do I need to improve upon? What do I need to start doing? What do I need to start doing? And what do I need to continue to do? And when you get that frank, open, honest feedback about your performance as a leader, then you're going to accept it. You're not going to defend or deflect. You're going to accept it. And then you're going to take a few moments to reflect about how you could go out and gain those skills. And there's so many ways to do that once you decide that you're going to invest in your own personal and professional development. And you can do that by surrounding yourself with other leaders. So you can join a local network. You could join a sports team. You could volunteer with a local organization where you know you are going to be surrounded by other people who are in leadership roles, either within their own careers and definitely within this, how they're serving in this organization. You can absolutely read. There are so many books on leadership now. I would caution you, though, that as you're looking to evolve as a leader, that you become very selective in who you're following. Because I find there's so much leadership resources out there for people who work or own a very large organization like the one I came from. But what we need is more people to talk about what it's like to lead as a small business owner.
Mm.
You know, that small business that has less than 50 people. You know, that small business that has 5 people. That small business that has 12. Because I think sometimes people can get caught up and can be very deflating if they're reading a book or listening to a podcast or, you know, watching some sort of a TED Talk or something where the individual is talking to big corporations. They're not talking to or wanting to serve small business owners, and therefore they can get demotivated,
confused. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I've listened to many of those speakers, and they're fantastic. Often
they are
great stories, and thrilling what they've been able to accomplish in their careers. But it is a disconnect between small business and large corporations, and so looking for leaders that have done the work. Sounds like a good book for you to write if you haven't ever already written it.
I've not written a book yet, but I actually have 2 books in mind. Someday I will definitely look to that. But the other thing they can do is decide that they're going to go to a minimum of 2 conferences a year and be very selective as to what those conferences are. And it doesn't need to be like a big conference or symposium. It could be some sort of in-person event where it's guaranteed that you are going to be bumping shoulders and sharing a meal with other people who are also small business owners who have a lot of drive, who are building a team, and who are wanting to create this legacy business that they can either sell at some point or pass on to their family. Or what often happens in small business is one of your own team members ends up taking it over. So, you know, those are the kind of people that you want to be hanging out with. So I really encourage people to invest in themselves and put it on their calendar and do a little bit of research to intentionally get out there in the world and beyond your local. Let's go statewide or provincial wide. Let's go national and even international. but let's get you out of your comfort zone and into a mix and an environment with other people that you are going to be inspired by, that you're going to learn something, and where you're going to be assured that you are smart and you're very capable and you're also not alone.
So true. And I've said it on the podcast many times. I know the listener probably getting tired of me saying it, but it's the books you read and the people you surround yourself that make the greatest difference out there in that wonderful wild future that we're going into. And so we've talked about that. Get the content, read the books, fill your mind with goodness, but also the people you surround yourself with. It's why we created the Successful Bookkeeper community, was to help connect great bookkeepers, great business people, great people with other great people, because it's not even like, a lot of the times it's not the secret formula you're looking for. It's just that, like you said, the acknowledgement that person walked up the mountain, so can I. And seeing them walk and do that, stumble over a few rocks, it's like, it's not that bad. And that is the magic moment when you go, click, I can do this, and you just go do it.
And your summit that you offer is a perfect way for anyone who really is looking to stretch themselves as a leader and professionally, attending a summit and being intentional with blocking off time, putting up the barriers and the boundaries so that they can come to the summit and focus in on the sessions that they're going to participate in, and realize that not only are they going to be learning skills and concepts and all the wonderful surprises that all your session speakers are going to bring to that. They're going to be learning those kind of skills, but they're also going to be learning how to lead, how to make bigger decisions, how to really think about the future, and how to really evolve into that business owner that is future focused. So you're not so far out front that you're isolated from what's happening in your day-to-day business or your team, but you are definitely thinking about the future. And coming to an event like you're hosting with the summit is a great way to get the juices flowing and get the energy up and have you think about, hey, where else could I go and maybe hang out with some of the people that I'm meeting at this summit?
So true. Glad you brought it up. Of course, we're super excited about the summit on November 9th and 10th. And last year, it was just such a party. Great content, great speakers, wonderful people from the industry, thought leaders like yourself. You will be speaking this year, of course. We're going to get into, I'd love to learn more about what your topic's going to be about. And the connections and the chat and all of that, it's not only a heck of a lot of fun, but lots of great insights, lots of great knowledge transfer being shared amongst peers, because a lot of the speakers will actually be bookkeeping business owners that are sharing a piece of their wisdom in a long format, 30, 45 minutes of content, really showing this is what I was trying to do. This is how I did it, challenges, all that good stuff. Super valuable. And that's why we did it. And it's virtual and it's free, so anyone can attend.
That's unbelievable.
And I hope, listener, that you will block those 2 days. Last year, many, many people we surveyed said it was the very best conference they'd ever attended in the industry. I know. It was, we were really proud. The team was super proud of what they put together. And look, we put together the Successful Bookkeeper in our team. We put together the infrastructure and put up the tent, but it's the amazing speakers like yourself that show up and deliver such great content, unique content, but also the community, the people that are listening right now, showing up, sharing, giving their insights, cheering on the speakers, cheering on the other participants. It's a real joy to put it on. And so we're looking forward to doing it again this year, and hopefully have a few new bells and whistles and all that good stuff to go along with it. So get your tickets, go register. The link is there, the successfulbookkeeper.com/summit. But I'd love, Shelli, for you to tell us give us a teaser. What's your talk going to be about, and why should our listener get up right now? Or actually, you don't have to get up. You just click to register.
Well, I am happy to be able to come and share a session with your raving fan base, Michael, all about how to promote a team member into a leadership role. So we're going to take some time to talk about why you even need leadership roles in your business and what would those roles be. And then we'll look at who do you have on your team right now that could be a candidate, or do we have to go externally to bring someone in? And then I'm going to spend some time with actually showing you how to promote someone into a leadership role so that it's greatly going to impact your retention. You are going to be offering career opportunities for people. And I know sometimes when I say the word career opportunity, people think, yeah, but I don't have a HR department and I don't have these big budgets for my payroll. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way, right? I'm a fan of taking those corporate concepts and corporate structures and stripping them down into something that's incredibly useful and compelling for a small business owner. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to walk through the whole process of how would you promote a team member into a leadership role and how to set them up for success. And then I'm going to show you what kind of outcomes you're going to be delighted with that you have someone that's sharing the heavy load of leading and planning and future forecasting with your business.
I love it. Well, we provided the theme, and this theme came from our community. It's like, hey, what are you feeling?
Yeah.
Actually, there's one person, I won't name her name, that really is my muse when it comes to putting on these conferences. She knows who she is. She listens. She's an avid listener, but it was like, I go to her all the time. It's like, what are you feeling? What's this? She seems to always have her finger on the pulse of the community.
Nice.
And so she's like, we've been through so much.
Yeah.
These last couple of years. And she feels like, a lot of that, not to say that the world's going to be smooth sailing here going forward. There's always challenges to overcome, but we've been through a lot and we've gotten through it, and we're here. And it's like that stormy day where the sun starts to come out, and the next day, sure, things are blustery and things aren't where they were, and it's not the way that it was, but new beginnings happen in that moment. And so the theme this year is make it grow.
Yes.
And the perfect time to grow is after these times. All the great growth in history comes after tumultuous times. Yeah. And so what you're talking about is the how to build the team that's going to stay with you and help you grow and help you build the business that you want to have, such that your future is being delivered on and your dreams and desires are being delivered on. So make it grow. That's the theme. And you've nailed it.
That's what we're going to do. I'm so looking forward to it. And I also encourage you to make sure that you're attending Natalie Ekdahl's session, where she's going to be sharing her automatic yes framework, which is really going to help you take some strategic action towards always having that continual pipeline of clients. And again, make it grow. Isn't all about
exciting? I love the title, Automatic Yes.
Yes.
Another really key message. I'm excited for our listener for both of these talks, but that in itself is an automatic yes. So building the pipeline, having the knowledge on how to get customers, great customers saying yes to you, building that pipeline. So these are two, yourself and Natalie, and there's like 30 others that are going to be there.
I'm excited to see the whole lineup.
A lot of content, and there were people our biggest complaint last year, not enough breaks.
Okay.
Not enough breaks, because we had so much content and people were glued. They were afraid to go to the bathroom. And they were like, we couldn't even go to the bathroom. We couldn't get a snack because of all this great content. I know this year's going to be similar. We have put a few more breaks in there, but I feel like I want to just cram as much goodness into that day as possible. And we're turning away speakers this year. There's so many people with so much great knowledge. I would love to put this on for weeks and weeks, but if people get too much time, but So exciting, Shelli. And I just want to thank you so much on behalf of our listener, for your generosity in coming on the show and sharing some of your knowledge today, and as well being a speaker for the summit. So I'm excited about having you there, and I'm excited what they're going to get out of it. And I thank you for it.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity. And I know without a doubt, all of your sessions are going to impact everyone. And, it's one of those things where, sometimes people go to these events and they think, oh, what's really going to be there for me? But boy, oh boy, the minute you get into it, you think, I can't believe I wasn't going to come to this. Or I can't believe that I didn't think there was going to be anything here that would relate to me. There's so much value in these types of events. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the entire lineup that you have. And I am just so excited to be able to serve. And both Natalie and I will be in the chat box with each other's sessions. And we can't wait to learn more about each and every individual that's coming to these events.
Lovely, lovely. We're super excited. That's what keeps me up at 3 a.m. every night, is how to make sure it is awesome and that people show up and are wowed. And that's what the rest of the team is doing as well. And Shelli, before I let you go, I'd love for you to share a little bit more in terms of where people can learn more about you, your podcast, bizchix.com, and the great work that you're doing over there.
Well, I know that as a listener, you're already a raving fan of the podcasting platform as a media. So I invite you to come over and check out and subscribe Stacking Your Team, which drops a new episode every Tuesday. And that podcast, we've been going now, we're well over 4 years now. And we've launched that podcast specifically as a sister podcast to Natalie's award-winning Biz Chix podcast, which she's been sharing free content for women entrepreneurs since 2014. So we're really excited and honored with the run that we've had with both of those podcasts. And just as listeners, our audience and all of the content that we share on both those podcasts are for small service-based business owners. So you're not going to get the corporate-y stuff. You're going to get what's helpful to you as a small business owner. So I invite you to go and subscribe to both of those podcasts. And then if you are a service-based business owner that has a team of 5 or more, and you want to learn how to be a better leader for your business and your team, I invite you to consider the Leadership Lab, which we are welcoming new members in for January with a early enrollment in December. And you can find out all about our programs and everything that we have to offer over the website at bizchix.com, which is bizchix.com.
Lovely. Well, you're doing great work over there, amazing podcasts, and we're just grateful to have you on the show. And I look forward to, like I said, having you at the summit, and that is coming up real soon. So, Shelli, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you at the summit.
Yes, that's right. Beautiful. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.